to go. So today we're going to be needing a chair of some sort. So ideally, a firmer surface is going to be nicer because we're going to be using the balls around our butt bone, and the softer chairs will actually kind of suck the ball in and you won't get as intense of a work. So my favorite one for this one is the Alpha if you have that, but you can use just a single ball. And what we're gonna do is if you find your butt bone here, we're actually gonna be making circles around it, okay? So I want you to find your butt bone here, and you're gonna go right in front of it. Hi, Dad. So we're right in front of the butt bone and Mom. And we're going back and forth, okay? So a lot of the work that we're going to do today is actually really close to, we've talked about like the nerves in the armpit. This is really close to a lot of the nerves that are in our, that shoot down our leg, sciatic nerve in particular. And so if you feel any zing or anything like that, please try to move to a different spot. We don't need to roll through that. I'm right in front of that butt bone. And we're going to hold a spot right in front of the butt bone, and we're going to straighten the leg and then bend. Oh, Mom, you joined separate. Bend and straighten. And then what I'm also going to do is knee is bent, and we're going to rock the foot side to side. So we're just tackling that attachment of the hamstring muscle, mostly here right at the front. And then what we're gonna do, you can't really see my foot here, but you may wanna get kind of to the edge of the chair because we're gonna go to the side of your butt bone now. So we're gonna get a little awkward with different positions here. So I'm on the side of the butt bone, kind of in that glute, butt cheek area. And you can do some of those same movements. So I'm here balancing this leg on the ground, straighten, bend that leg side to side. You'll notice if you have a lacrosse ball or a ball that's firmer than something like the Alpha ball, you might not want to get as close to your butt bone because it's a little bit more tender. I can go a little up and down. And then I'm gonna go behind the butt bone here. So here I'm on the back side. Going a little bit side to side here. And this is what I love about using the yoga tune-up balls is you can get really close to the attachment on the bone safely without doing anything crazy. Okay, let's do a little bend and straighten. So this is a good view here, because as I straighten my leg, what may happen is you may want to round. So only straighten that leg as far as you can go, keeping your back in a good position. And you can flex your foot, so pull your toes up towards your shin and come back down. Okay, now we're going to the inside. So this area, if you re-find your butt bone, we're gonna go on the inside, and it's gonna be a little bit more your groin. So you don't have to have your leg behind the chair. You can come, I can even still be sitting on the chair. I'm just gonna come back behind. And so now we're on the inside of that butt bone. So kind of groin area. All is falling off. Go a little bit side to side. And kind of twist back and forth. Hey, Lilia. And then straighten and kick, or straighten and bend. Flex that foot a little bit. These areas are really hard to get with the foam roller. The ball is just a nice spot to kind of fit that whole area. So let's stay on that same side that you were rolling, and we're gonna go forward from the butt bone. So come forward just a little bit more, and we're just gonna roll side to side along this hamstring muscle here. And as you're rolling, search for that tight spot, hold it, do some of the leg pumps, do some of the rocking side to side. What's cool about this too is we can kind of get the inside of the leg if we twist a little bit here. The whole hamstring is really hard to get with a lot of depth with the lacrosse or with the foam roller. So this is just a nice one. I'm going to keep working my way towards my knee, depending on how long your chair is. You can probably get pretty close to your knee. Mine's a little bit narrow. And as we're working this, I was just reading a really cool article yesterday about how fascia, our connective tissue, what's surrounding our muscles and our skin and everything, how it responds to, it basically makes change through slow movements. So if we're doing a bunch of quick, trying to get it over with quickly, it's not going to be as effective. So just remember, nice and slow. That's why we can kind of hold a spot here. Straighten and bend. I did a really awesome cardio dance workout on Friday night. If anyone's looking for something like that, it was E3 Fitness. I think they do them live every Friday night, but lots of different sore muscles when you're doing dance fitness classes. Okay, let's go a little bit more forward. Hey, Kevin and Rachel and maybe the kids. So back and forth. Okay, we're gonna switch to the other side, but before you do that, what I want you to do is stand up and just try to go down and touch your toes. And if you can comfortably, hang out down there for a little bit and see if you feel a different side to side. You may go down further on one side because we've loosened that up. You may also just feel a lot less tension in the back of your leg, even into your lower back. So see if you can feel that different side to side. So we are finding our butt bone on this other side and coming right in front of it. So as close to that butt bone as you can. And we're going side to side here. Sometimes you'll feel a kind of like a thud, I guess, for lack of a better word, as you roll over. And sometimes that's just a thickened area, maybe an area that's been tight for a really long time. It gets really stiff if we're not getting that fresh blood flow in there. So that's what we're working on here. Go ahead and straighten and bend. Wiggle around a little bit. And then we're going to go to the side of the butt bone. So you can always kind of reorient yourself by going on the butt bone and then come out to the side. So this was the one where I kind of had one leg on the ground, just to kind of balance a little bit here. Get a little bend and straighten. And then we'll go behind the butt bone. Just hoping you don't see me fall off of this bar stool right now. Okay, there we go. Right behind the butt bone. A little bend and straighten. And then we're going to the inside of the butt bone. So I like to drop one leg off the side here. And just find kind of that groin attachment. Actually got a lot of, we did pelvic floor stuff last week. We've got a lot of muscles that attach to the pelvic floor down here. A little bend and straighten with that. And then let's go back to that hamstring. So find butt bone and come right in front, a little bit further in front, and we're just going to be going side to side. So those of you who do a lot of seated work, core work, this is a really nice one that you can do while you're seated at your desk. The only thing I would warn against is if you leave the ball there and forget about it, oftentimes you can get some nerve damage. So don't just leave it there. I've had some people do that. So just make sure it's set a timer or something like that. We get very distracted with our work. So we're straightening that leg. It's another really good one to do on the plane too. Not that anyone's really on a plane right now, but we will be once again. And then come forward just a little bit more. Don't forget to check out that inside area as you roll in. There's my thud. I don't know if you saw my leg. That area is very tight. So if you do find a thud like that, pin that spot and then straighten and bend. And it might not be a very fast movement of your knee here because it can be pretty tender. That's what I'm dealing with at the moment. So just checking in with your breath. If you haven't found a spot like this, go ahead and find a spot. You may have some days where you cruise around these areas and they feel pretty darn good. So you want to kind of find those areas. We just found another thud. Let's do another minute here. Don't forget you can play with that foot so you can flex your toes up towards your shin. A little bit closer there. Okay, let's put the ball down for a second. Go ahead and touch your toes again. See how that feels. Feeling a little bit more even. So we're going to do a little bit of stretching here with your chair before we go down to the floor. So option number one, that's going to be a little bit more simple if you're a little bit off balance or you just want to keep it simple tonight. You can put your ankle on top of the other knee. Keep this foot flexed so we're protecting that knee. And you can push down here gently and kind of lean your hips forward. So as you're leaning your hips forward, make sure that you're leaning from your hip socket here. So I'm not just trying to stretch this way, and just come forward. If you want to play with something a little bit more intense, you can take stool, the chair that you've been working on, and we're going to put your leg up like this. So what we're shooting for here is a 90-degree angle at your knee. So I still have my foot active to protect the knee, and I'm hinging. Let me do this here. Hinging from my hips. So same thing, I'm not folding forward. I'm leaning my chest forward. And you should feel a nice stretch on the outside of your hip here. And you're gonna still keep this 90-degree angle, but what we can do is we can do some twisting. And you can do this if you're sitting, you can add some movement side to side. And then wherever you are, go ahead and squeeze your butt cheek. Not with your hand, with your muscles. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then relax. And you should be able to go a little bit further. And then go ahead and squeeze again. And then relax and go a little bit further. Just doing a little bit of contract, relax to trick your brain into relaxing a little bit more. Trick your brain into relaxing your muscles. That's what I meant. Okay, go ahead and come on out. Shake it out a little bit. And then we'll switch to the other side. So 90-degree angle. And lean your hip forward. Keep that foot active wherever you are. Move a little bit side to side. And then go ahead and squeeze that butt cheek. And then relax. And then squeeze. And relax. So you should, after you do a couple of that activation and then relax, you should feel like you're getting into a deeper stretch, like your body's relaxed a little bit more. So that's the goal with that. Okay, go ahead and shake it out. So now what we're gonna do is a little bit more hamstring. So you're gonna, if you're sitting, you're gonna have one leg out on the ground, and I'm just gonna lean forward until I feel a stretch in that hamstring. If you are using your chair, you're gonna have foot up like this. So you don't have to have the knee bent, or sorry, you don't have to have the knee straight, you can keep it bent. But the biggest thing here is to keep that back in a good position. So if I'm here, keeping that back in a good position, I'm gonna lean forward until I feel a stretch here. And then what I want you to play with here is rocking your foot side to side, wherever you're at. So we're getting different angles of that hamstring, groin, everything that we just rolled. And if you're seated, reaching forward, you can do the same rocking. You can play with having your foot active, you can point it forward. If you need some support, you can always move your chair next to a wall or a couch to hold on to. So here's our contract, relax. You're gonna drive your heel into either the ground or the chair for a few seconds. So drive, drive, drive. You should feel your hamstring activate. And then completely relax and lean forward. Checking in on your back. Your back is staying in the same position. Go ahead and drive your heel down, down, down. And then relax. And then go ahead and switch sides here. Shake it out in between. The other leg up. So be nice and gentle here. Keep the knee bent if you need to. Get some rocking side to side. Good, and then let's do that contract, relax. So drive your heel down into the stool, chair, and then relax. And then drive. And relax. Okay, we're gonna do 2 more things here, and we're just gonna do them all standing because it's just gonna be easier. So keep your chair nearby, chair or stool, and what you're gonna do here is you're going to bring your foot up on whatever surface you have. And what I want you to do is you're not gonna see this very well, but my back leg is gonna be a little bit more pigeon-toed, turned in. So if you're on a stool and this feels really bad, please drop to your couch or a shorter chair. So with my foot pigeon-toed in the back, I'm squeezing this back butt cheek, and I'm getting a very intense stretch in the front of this leg, maybe a little bit of groin, high hamstring here. And if you feel comfortable here, that's fine, you can keep that. I can also drop that hip out to the side. And think of whatever position you're in, think of playing around a little bit. So move a little side to side. Probably feeling a good stretch in the calf as well. And then we're gonna take that back foot and you're actually gonna turn the foot to face out. So now your toes are facing out to that side. And then the same thing, keep your glutes squeezed. If you feel pressure on the inside of your knee, straighten your foot a little more, but make sure this butt is active because you'll be surprised at how deep of a stretch you can get without messing with your knee if you keep this glute active. So we're here, you can keep this nice and straight if you want. Feel a little bit of groin on this side. Maybe still feeling this front leg. And then let's slowly come on out of that and switch to the other side. Let's see if you can see. You're not going to be able to see my foot. That's okay. So now we have other foot up. Back foot is in a pigeon-toed position, so turned in. And just kind of work into this first. So this glute is active, leaning forward. I can drop this front knee out to the side. Move a little side to side. And then let's turn that back foot out now. And remember, before you lunge forward, keep that glute squeezed. Re-straighten this front leg. And now we're getting more of that groin. So inner thigh. Play with that foot outside. There we go. Okay, go ahead and slowly come on out. So the last thing we're going to play with here is one of my favorite things to do when you've been sitting a lot, maybe on a road trip or something like that. So one of the biggest things to think about when you're doing this so you can feel the right stretch is if you find the outside of your leg bone here and you move it, lift your leg up. You can even twist like you're stepping on a bug, and you can feel that bone kind of pop into your hand. This is where we want our pressure to be. So we're pushing on that joint. I'm leaning forward, and I'm pushing, I'm in the crease of this hip, and I'm pushing this leg bone back as I bend forward. So it is, you can hold on to the wall and balance here and do that. You're gonna get a little bit more force if you don't have that other hand on the wall. But play with where you're at. And as I push back and hinge forward, I can feel this deeper stretch all the way into my hip socket here. Be patient with yourself if you can't feel this right away, because sometimes it's just a different sensation. But try it the next time you're on a road trip, because it's really, really helpful. So once I'm here, still pushing back, I can move my hips a little bit side to side. And if I was rounded, so if I'm more here, I don't feel a stretch at all. So you really have to make sure the movement is just coming from the hip and I'm pushing back. If you've done any banded hip stretching with me before, this is the same. This is exactly what the band is doing. But on a road trip, we don't always have something to attach the band to or the ability to lay down and do that. So this is just a nice one. Okay, switch to the other side. I'll stay here so you can get a different angle. So I'm here, pushing back. A lot of upper body work with this one. Hinging, moving a little bit side to side. Make sure that chest is staying upright. Awesome. Go ahead and come back up. So last little bit as you guys go into your work week, potentially sitting more than you normally do. So what I want you guys to think about this week is when you're sitting, this is really hard to do on a couch, but if you're on a chair, try to sit. We've just spent a lot of time getting to know our butt bones tonight. So try to sit in front of them. So what that means is we usually tend to sit kind of on the cushy part of our butt. But if you scoot back on your surface, you're sitting a little bit more on your hamstring. And what that's going to do, it's going to give you this sweet spot where you don't feel like you have to work to hold your body up. So that's what we want versus being here, being on the cushy part of our butt, but where you can already see my chest is starting to slouch forward. And then we kind of have to play this game to keep our body upright. So if you just scoot your butt back, sit right in front of that butt bone, you're gonna notice it's just a little bit easier, easier to sit. It may even be easier to sit without a backrest. So it's just gonna be a lot less strain, and a lot of the mobility that we did tonight is going to last longer. Cool? So thanks for hanging out. I wanted to thank everyone who donated last week. I spoke with the Face of Justice group out in Costa Rica, and they are the group that helps with sex trafficking victims. And they, the girls, the victims that they rescue, are having a really hard time with the lockdown because they're stuck basically in a basement. You know, they've done a good job of making it homey, but they really strive getting out, and with the lockdown they haven't been able to get out. So I sent them some essential oils to help with sleep and anxiety, and the girls love the oils. So thank you. This week, instead of the donation link is still going to be in the Facebook group and in my Instagram profile, but this week what I want you guys to think about is pick one person in your life to donate one of these self-care techniques that we've been going over. So if you can teach one person how to roll out their butt bone or stretch their hip, I think that just spreads so much love in a different way of being able to empower yourself to be able to get rid of pain outside of medication and that kind of stuff. So if you can teach one person and then ask them if they have any other aches and pains, and you can bring that back to the class and I can teach something different. So just something fun to think about this week. Hope you guys have a good week. Please keep sharing your requests, and I will see you Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard. See ya.